Maseches, Bava Metzia, Renu Lomdim, Lerefuas, Norman Koler, Bastam, Shmuel, Roman Yudis, Yudis Basrif, Kaptina Chabes, Golarochel, Reuben Yaakov and Golda, Esther, Gabriela Batzor, Chana, Batzima, Tomer, Basnomi, Bela Zisl, in Barbas, Yoel, Tzvi, Herzl, Ben Denis, Sholem, Yosef, Ben Hinda, Yaakov, Ephraim, Ben Sau, Besoch Shachol Yisrael, Lulnishmas Chomi, Nochum Marit, Ben Moshe, David Zelig, Lulnishmas Ovi, Moiri, Menachem Ben Akiva, Chaf Amud Aleph. Are we recorded? Yes. Yeah. So I'm not going to repeat the Mishnah now, not each and every item of the Mishnah, but basically the Mishnah dealt with, again, it's the last Mishnah that deals with what happens if you found a shtar in the street, right? The shtars we deal with now, shtars you may give back with no hesitation. You can give them back to the Malveh because why? Well, either because we know for sure that they've been approved by Beis Din, or we know that there's a very clear siman, a very clear sign that says, or a way of identification mark that tells us that belong to the Malveh. That will be discussed later. One of the lines in the Mishnah says, "V'chol ma'aseh beis din harei ze yachzir." As I just said, any shtar with a stempel, with the approval of Beis Din, the Beis Din have seen that this is a good shtar, can be returned to whoever should be the normal the Malveh, the woman, whoever that is. We know it's been dealt with in Beis Din. They don't put the stamp just on anything. Says the Gemara. Story time, and we've seen the story before. Now we'll see it in a different context. There was a get that was found in the Beis Din of Rav Huna. So Rav Huna's Beis Din is a busy place. There's lots of people there. Likelihood that somebody lost it, and actually the person lost it. Who lost it? Says Rashi, Rashi says the shliach. There was a shliach on his way from Yerushalayim, where the husband lives, about to be ex-husband. The husband sent him with a get to Tel Aviv, where the wife lives. He stops in Bet Shemesh, in the Beis Din in Bet Shemesh. There's a Beis Din now in Bet Shemesh and Ramabet. He lost the shtar, and then he found the shtar. Mazel tov. No, it's not so simple. It's not so simple. If you lost the get, and then half an hour later you found the get, what's the question? Maybe it's not the same get, right? Maybe it's not the same get. Let's remind ourselves. If he is leaving Yerushalayim and the get is written in Yerushalayim, that's a big city. Last time I checked, and Yosef ben Shimon from Yerushalayim says in the shtar in the get, Megarish Prince Abbas Shlomiel, also from Yerushalayim. Well, could be there are two of them, and could be there's another shliach in his busy place. But that was not the case here. Here there was a bit of a different case. Ksiv Bey, it was written in the get, B'Shvirei Mata, in the town of Shviri, that's the name of the town, the Al Rachis Nahara, that sits over the river Rachis. In a way to identify the town, so you're supposed to write the name of the town and also the water source that the town sits on. River, lake, whatever that is, lake, wood. Amar Rav Huna. So now Rav Huna is establishing or thinking of establishing a new kind of chashash. He says, Chayshinan lishnei shviri. We may, although not sure, we may be choishish concerned. Maybe there are two towns by the same name. In other words, the shliach looked online, looked in the phone book, and he did not see that in Shviri, he didn't see that in that Shviri over the river, we didn't see that there are two Yosef ben Shimon marrying to Prince Abbas Shlomiel. But maybe there's another Shviri, right? Paris, Texas, London, Canada, Cordova, Argentina. And how do you know? Maybe they just established a new Lakewood in Nepal. I don't know. And you don't even know about it, and it says Lakewood. There are 3 Lakewoods in America, by the way. Right? Yeah, besides the one we know, there are another 2. So what do you know? So there are there are thousands of cities all over the world. So maybe we should be choishish and not continue with the get to the destiny of that lady from Bnei Brak with that shliach, because maybe there are 2 cities with the same name. So even though in the city is only one Shlomiel ben this, but maybe there are 2 cities, and maybe in the other city, maybe there's also a Jewish community. How do you know? People sometimes come to me surprised. Is there a Jewish community in, Riga? Yeah, there is. I'm saying, you don't know. Yeah, Efsha. However, it was not a done deal. That was more like a chashash of Rav Huna. It's an idea presented by Rav Huna. Amal Rav Chizda l'Rabba. Came Rav Chizda to Rabba, who was like more of a Talmud over there. Puk ayin, go out and look into the sugya, look into it and see if it's correct to have such a chashash, such a concern. Maybe there's a city with an identical name. Because urta may be tomorrow morning, tomorrow or in the evening, Tomorrow, Rav Huna will ask you the question, we have homework to do. Find out if there is really room to be so concerned of another city with the same name, because Rav Huna will ask you the question. So Rabbi worked hard, nofak, he went out of his way, he whatever, delved into it, dak, he was medayik, the ashkach, and he found a Mishnah. You know which Mishnah? Our Mishnah, Zetnan, it says in our Mishnah, Kol Maise Bezdin, Hareze Yachzir. It says any Maise Bezdin, which means any get, and Rabbi learns any get found in Bezdin, you give back. What does that mean? If you say that, right, it says that although you lost the get with the stempel of Bezdin, you give it back. Now, we did say there are exceptions to the rule, such as if I know or possibly know that in Yerushalayim there are two people with the same name, then there will be exceptions to the rule. But listen to this, and that I have to thank Mechavrusa, who actually explained it to me. According to you, you never give back a star. Your concern has no end, and over self. Because if you're always concerned there's another city, maybe there's an eighth Lakewood in Brazil, maybe there's, in Mexico, they're starting a new Lakewood, and maybe there's a new one in Brazil who's you're not aware of, it was not in the news. I don't know. In other words, there's no end to it. So according to what you're saying, if we'd follow this potential chashash, we would never give back a lost star. Because even though I know that in the Jerusalem that I know, let's say, where I got the get from, there's only one guy, one girl with that same name. So still, maybe that's Jerusalem, Pennsylvania. Maybe there's New Jerusalem by, I don't know, some Christian group in Zimbabwe. I don't know. Ein Ladover Sof. So you could have said, what you're basically saying is, never give back a lost star. That cannot be, because the Mishnah says you do. That if the star is nice and approved and a good kosher, but that's basically you do. So that's a clash. So Rabbi proved this point by saying, you see that really there's no such concern as long as the town I left from as a shliach has one guy and one girl with the same name, no other couple sharing the same name. I don't have to be so choshesh, so paranoid to think maybe there's another town with the same name. So far, so good. Detnan, kol ma'aseh bezdin, harei ze yachzir. Yeah, you give it back. Now comes fun. Omar le Rav Amram le Rabba. Rav Amram is now challenging Rabba, asking Rabba, who just said what I said. How can you compare and resolve Pashit Isura Mimamoino? How can you compare Isura, the prohibition of Eshes Ish, to money? Which means that our Mishnah spoke about Shtoros. The Mishnah didn't say Gitin. The Mishnah spoke about Shtoros, which, as far as we know, generally speaking, are monetary things. When it comes to money is way less chashash than Eshes Ish. Yeah, $1 million to lose is not as bad as losing Chas v'Sholom the Isser of Eshes Ish. And therefore, how can you compare? Our Mishnah said if you lost a star with a handpicked Beis Din that has to do with debts, financial things, and a chanami, yes. But an Isser Eshes Ish, who says maybe then we do have to be more choshesh and never give back the star, go back to Yerushalayim, ask the guy to write a new star, maybe. Yeah, in other words, you can't compare one to the other. There's a very, what? Not on this case. Yeah, not in this case. Mr. has asked many times. Yeah, in Brachas and many times. There's a beautiful Tosfos here. I'm almost tempted to look at it inside. Tosfos Sisur Memon asks the question. You want to Tosfos inside or outside? Quick vote. What? Inside. Rav Simkin likes inside. Okay, it's inside. One Tosfos, because we're about to finish the parak, we'll give you a candy. Tosfos says Tosfos Sisur Memon. The Im Toimer. Tosfos asks the question. We assume what? The question was, if the Mishnah is being lenient regarding money, it does mean it's being lenient regarding Eshes Ish. Yorgu terrible, Eshes Ish. Correct Tosfos, the Im Toimer. Tosfos wants to question that. Tfei anan machmirin b'mamoina. No. In money, we're being more machmir. We're being more strict than Eshes Ish. What? Says Tosfos. Da ein an holchim b'mamon achararov. In money, we don't follow the roid. In other words, let's say, I'm not going to the sugya, which you learned in Shmuel versus Rav, but in money, many times, sometimes, according to Shmuel, we don't go just by majority. We go by chazoko. Majority doesn't always rule when it comes to money. I'm not going to details now of the story. Remember, he bought the oxen. We don't know if he bought the oxen for shchita or for work. Shmuel, Rav, okay, good. But we don't always follow the road. We're being more particular. Ubisu, as then ruba. Yes, but Isser, we follow the road. I feel like chadika chazaka d'isur keneged oiv. V'lo cheshin and shema b'mokum nekev tashochit. Says Tosfos when he talks about shchita. Yeah, shchita Yeah, we say, let's say you shecht an animal, and you say maybe the shechita happened to, maybe the knife of the shechita, the chalif, hit the animal where there was already a blemish. We're not concerned about that. Most animals don't have a blemish in the place of shechita. We can follow the roiv. Also, batrefus. Batrefus, I'm not going to details la halacha. You assume most, you don't check each and every organ of the animal to see. You check the rayos, you blow them. They don't check the, I don't know, the esophagus, each and everything. So what do you see? You see that really by money, we're being more machmir, in particular, don't follow the roiv, and by isurim, such as eating treif, we are more mekel. Listen to this. The mikol mokum answers to us is the last wide line. Mikol mokum, nevertheless, be'eshes ish. What did I tell you all the time? Eshes ish. Echmiru more. By eshes ish, we're being more machmir than other isurim. Eshes ish, for a married woman to have relations, or suffolk eshes ish to have relations, is the end of the world. Yes, and that's such a terrible thing. Chachamim were machmir, and he proves it. The maim shen laim soif. Let's say a woman's husband sank, they saw him sinking, they didn't see him dead, not dead. They saw the dead married woman, her husband was a trip to Thailand, and he jumped into the ocean, and he was never seen. He like drifted, dead, alive, I'm not sure. But you know, he went to an endless water. The ocean has no end. She's not allowed to get married. Why? Maybe he got, maybe actually came out alive. Maybe he's a good swimmer, an ace, maybe a big plank of wood, like in the stories, and maybe swim all the way to Indonesia. Maybe he managed to go to the other place. So we're choshesh, although most people would be dead in such a situation, but Eshes Ish bring more machmir, as long as you don't know hardcore knowledge, the guy is D-E-A-D, clearly, you don't marry her off to another guy. Oh, so you see, by Eshes Ish, we're more machmir. That was the claim of Rav Amram. Eshes Ish is more severe than anything else. And therefore, how can you prove for money to Eshes Ish? That's not on par. The Od Yishlomar, another answer of Tosafos, the Od Yishlomar, he says, the Midoraisa lo chashin l'shnei Yosef ben Shimon. And Echnami. Mina Torah, we wouldn't be concerned that there are two people with the same name. Aval midorabanan chashinan. Even if you say midoraisa Eshes Ish is as bad as any other Isser, Eshes Ish has another factor that other Isserim don't. And that is mishum la'az. What's la'az? Her ex-husband doesn't, whatever, is not into, and other people may cause la'az, bad name. If the shtar has a question, even though we chachomim would not be concerned about this question, maybe there's another guy, maybe this, but the people would start chatting and talking, she'll marry another guy, and then people will say, says Prince Abelo to Yachniente, and then the husbands get involved also, and the semi-talmid chachomim, there's a question about her get. You think she's such a frum lady? Look at her walking with the tichel down the street with the new husband. I remember there was a shaila in the get, Yosef ben Shimon, even if it wasn't a real shaila. And those kinderlach with the long payas, don't start getting them into shidduchim, because we're concerned about that. We are being extra careful to avoid las on the get. Lo shayach las, right? In Mammon, there's no las. Yeah, Mammon, they say guy's a thief. Saying not that it's good, but it's not the same ramifications as saying kids are mamzerim, yeah, and they can never marry. And therefore, when it comes to Eshes Ish, for those two reasons, we're being more machmir, and we're still holding here back to the Gemara. So Rav Amram is asking Rabbi, listen, Rabbi, that's all very nice. How can you bring a proof from the Mishnah? The Mishnah spoke about monetary issues, and then it was lenient. You found, you lost, you found, all is good. But how can you prove this vis-a-vis Eshes Ish? Answers, Rabbi. Here comes. Don't get up now. Amalei Tarda. Rabbi is answering Rav Amram. You stupid one. That's what you got up. Yeah, but that's the targum. You Tarda either means stupid or bored or one that has the saliva coming like how do you call it? Salivating like a lunatic. Yeah, arts. So that's how he called Rav Amram. And what did he say? Oh, I can see. Yeah. My telepathy is working so well. I know what you're going to ask. Amar letarda. Soon we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that word. Shitre chalitzu muyunintanan. It says in the Mishnah, does talk about something similar to Eshes Ish. What is that? It says in the Mishnah, shtar chalitza. What's chalitza? A woman is not a full Eshes Ish, but what is she? She is yavam lashuk. She has to either marry her brother-in-law because the husband died without children, or she has to do chalitza. Basically, give her a document that she really is a chalutza. What's mi'unin? A little girl under bat mitzvah. that terminated their own marriage legally. She has a shtar to prove she's not married. So now Abu Hashem, the Pnei Yeshua explains over here, although this is not full Eshes Ish, it's not real full Eshes Ish, right? But it's similar to Eshes Ish. It's like a mini version of Eshes Ish, because Yivam Lashuk and a married minor is not as bad as real Eshes Ish. That's where Rav Amram said, I don't see the comparison. And Rabbah says, yes, it is Isurim. I do see the comparison. At the end of the day, if Pnei Yeshua explains exactly why, but Lamaisa Rabbah says, yeah, I believe it's a good comparison. Soon we'll deal with this harsh word. Look what happened. At that moment, when he called him, I don't say another English word, he called him like, slow guy. And then the main beam that the Besmedrash was leaning on popped, burst, whatever, broke, split, whatever you want. Yeah, poka. Yeah, please split open. Wow, that was like a sign mishamayim. The question is, how do you interpret that? That's Machlokes Rishonim who said what? I'm going with Rashi. Rav Amram said, Mishum latoy didi poka. My mazel, the Malach Heaven Shamayim was makpid, was particular on you, was angry with you for calling me Tarda. Tarda reminds me of a certain English word also, right? Tarda is lunatic. I have four explanations. Yeah, in other words, the Rishonim say either the thing or that, or mishuamam, bored, or slow, or stupid. In any event, yeah. So because he called me that way, Rashi says my mazel was angry with you, meaning not me. My mazel was angry with you. I could be okay with that, but I think in Shemaim, like the Malach had akpod against you. Maroma. Rabbi replied, yeah, he did not stay, under the carpet. Mishum latoy didipoka. No, it's my Malach who was angry with you for asking me such a challenging question, which I thought was a non-starter, and he caused me shame in this medrash. So I have two answers. Why really would Rabba, why did he call, his friend Tarda? Yeah, well, obviously back then they didn't have the midas machine, Uncle Moshe and the mitzvah man, right? So, and still, how did Rabba call him that way? So the answer is as follows. The Chavis Yore says, Chavis Yore and Tshuva, I think Kufnim Beis, there's a long Tshuva about Chachomim being in inverted commas, not nice to each other. He has several answers. It's an entire tshuva of the Chavis Yore by Ravia Bracha from Germany, from the Kadmor, very, very choshev Achron. And he says that many times, if you look at the history and the hierarchy, the one who calls the other names is the one higher than him. As opposed to today's generation, we tell something a child, so they can't accept it, or even an adult. Back then, an adult would be learning from someone, would accept it if it called him a name. Right? Even over here, Rashi doesn't say, I was angry with you. My mazel was angry with you. Meaning him as a Talmid, or not mamish like a lower class chaver, would accept the harsh word, and it wouldn't be considered as an insult. My answer is another answer, which is also an answer based on what I learned in yeshiva. Like at the end, Rabba. The haloch is like Rabba, as far as I know. Yeah. So now, yeah. Right. In today's world, we're insensitive. So I want to tell you the following story. Let's say it's happened now, 2022, where we're all so polite. Let's say, and imagine yourself, who can be more polite than a British woman? British and a woman. Imagine yourself a British woman, and she says thank you and please and big smiles. The amount of time you blink during a minute, she says thank you, please, so nice, so polite, never hurts anybody. Okay? She walks down the street in Golders Green Road, and chas v'shalom, some other, let's say, woman attacks her, a criminal, yeah, and that lady, the nice one, the very, very nice, polite woman, super polite, she's the queen of politeness, and she goes with her new baby called Elizabeth, Lilo Nishmas, yeah, she goes with her new baby in a stroller, beautiful new baby, amazing, the little baby, and that woman, the criminal, wants to manage, snatch the baby, kidnap the baby from her, take her into a black car in the corner, and sell her for slavery for the rest of her life. Would that British woman tell it, oh, I'm so sorry, would you mind not kidnapping my baby, please? I do apologize. Oh, I don't think that would be her reaction. No, she would kick, she would scream, she would bite the nose, and she would tear her hair, and she'd do even more than that, right? And she'd be right. Chachamim, for them, if somebody says something wrong in Torah is their life, Torah, it matters to them like more than anything else in the world. They don't see this as an academic discussion with a taint of holiness. That's life. That's more than all the money you have, all the children. That's how they saw it. So sometimes when a person thought that the other person is leading the Torah the wrong way, he can't stand it, and it's good that he can't stand it. That's like stealing the baby from him. So that lady would call her a tarda. She'd call her worse names. Yeah, you don't even know she knew these words. Yeah, that's the point. Chachamim cared so much about the Torah. You know how Ravid calls the Rambam. I don't know if the left to cry. The Ravid keeps calling the Rambam very stark things because the Ravid just he cared about Torah much more than we care about anything else in the world. And Mimela, the reaction is that way, and it's not a bad thing. It's kanos for Torah. At this happy note, we'll continue. Yeah, okay. Now, okay, actually now is a possible time to ask questions, yeah? And I will not call you names. I won't call you Tarda, okay? I hope. Yeah. Adds Rabbi Gitzstein, very nice. The Peanut Gallery strikes again. Not only it's his own personal feelings regarding Torah, if the Amoraim get something wrong, that would be B'chiyah L'Doros. Halacha is based, halacha forever is based on Amoraim. It's like you build a beautiful, big, expensive building with million people will live in this building, and you 1 centimeter wrong, right? In the engineer in the foundation, that's a heck of a mess, right? For life, as we know in this country, all right? So therefore, you can't just be nice. What are you doing? You're ruining the building. Nice. You and continue. Yeah. Right. Good. So he found, let's say he found the shtaris, whichever shtar he found it either in the chafisa or at luskema. You don't know what chafisa or luskema mean? Well, the Gemara is with you. My chafisa, what does chafisa mean? Omar Rabba bar Avchana, chemes ktana. Chemes ktana, chemes actually is like hoggerhead, chemes mine. Chemes is basically, there's a fancy word in English, I remember, it's a leather bottle. Flask, but from leather. It's a leather flask. There's a word for it. It's common in French. It's a leather flask for water, but it's from leather. And it's very unlikely a person would put his shtar over there, right? His document. If you put the document in a leather bottle, that means that's kind of crazy. And that's a good siman. You say, I found a shtar. You advertise it. The guy comes and says, it's in a leather bottle. Yeah, well, that's a siman because it's weird. Therefore, it shows it's siman, nobody else's. Now, my dluskema. What's dluskema? Omer Rabba bar Shmuel, Tlika desavi. Tlika desavi is basically like that word you said yesterday. It's like a case of old people, meaning old people have all kinds of zachen and things that they keep, the glasses and the tissues and the like women have. In other words, I don't know what I've called older people. Back then, old people they have like a case with all like a little bag with all kinds of things. So if you found the shtar in such a thing, it's a siman. Well, Tosfos asks, why is that a siman? Because it's quite common. Says Tosfos, we must say that there is a siman there. In other words, it's a case with a blue butterfly in the corner, kind of thing, yeah. And therefore, that's a siman. Now, here comes. Look, today I prepared show and tell. I prepared all kinds of shtaros together. Yeah, green, blue, and red is nothing political, just to show that these are different shtaros. And here too, these are different shtaros bound together in all kinds of different ways. They're all going to be with us in the next piece of shir. Yeah, it's Baruch Hashem. And we'll all get it right, Be'ezus Hashem. Yeah, okay. Tanu Rabbanon. Afterwards, you'll have to sign on them. Don't look what it says, or just sign, okay? Don't look at the small letters. Tanu Rabbanon. Tanu Rabbanon. That's the other one. Yeah, Tanu Rabbanon. Our rabbis taught. Tanu Rabbanon. Yeah. But sorry, let's first read the two dots, which is a quote from the Mishnah. Tachrich shel shtoros or aguda shel shtoros. Either you find it tachrich. What's tachrich? Tachrich means shrouds, but tachrich also means bound, like bound together, yeah. Or aguda shel shtoros, or a group of shtoros together. Tanu Rabbanon. You may ask, what's tachrich and what's aguda? Okay, the Gemara also asks the question. Kamu tachrich shel shtoros. What's a tachrich shel shtoros? Shloisha kruchin ze beze. 3 stars kruchin together. In the Havamina, people, that's a Havamina. Look, these are 3 stars. I don't know if you notice, one inside the other. Whoopa, all together, one inside the other, karuch, like all bound or wound up together. And the kesher does not have any sign. That's a simple, yeah, no special knot. They're just all stuck together, one inside the other, one like, wound up, bound up inside each other. Okay, that's a tachrich. In the Havamina, Bekami aguda shel shtoros. What's an aguda shel shtoros? What's an aguda? Shloisha kshurin ze bazeh. Have a look. 3 tied together. To have three shtoras, yeah, and they are each one koruch alone, says Rashi. Look, each one is koruch separately, but they are tied together. Why did I steal my daughter's thing? Yeah, why is that? Because that's very normal. It's not a siman. It doesn't show anything special. In other words, you come and say, I found three shtoras. Oh, you don't say the number. I found shtoras. The guy comes and tells you, the shtoras are tied together. Thank you. Tied together. What's a chiddush? That's not a chiddush. Nothing crazy and special. Elamai shmat mino, continues the Gemara, kesher siman. If you tell me that they're tied, the fact that they're together like that, that's not a siman. Tied. The only thing I can figure out, says the Gemara from the Mishnah, is the knot was very special. How is that? How you define that? You know, a girly thing, a pink with a black design. Oh, that's a siman. Or different ksharim. I made the knot of the fisherman, the knot of the boatman, the knot of the camel people, whatever. So that's a siman. Frag the Gemara, without asking the Gemara has an automatic question. Are you really telling me that from our Mishnah we know that the shape of the kesher, it's not about the polka dots, I was joking. Are you telling me that the shape of the kesher, like your grandmother, like this, there are many, many types of knots in the world. Are you telling me that that's a siman? Wow. Because in the next parak, by the way, this is good preparation for the next parak. In the next parak, we're going to see a big discussion whether the type of knot is considered enough of a siman or not. I mean, we sort of entered the world of simanim without me giving much introduction. What's the idea of siman again? A person says, halachically, advertises, I found this and that, right? And now he has to disclose some information, basic information, and then you, the one who lost, I don't say the loser, yeah, the one who lost is not a loser. The one who lost has to give a siman, has to give what I would call in English identification mark, yeah, to show, oh, is a kesher good enough of a siman? We discussed before. Remember, siman muvak, not muvak. What level of siman is good enough? Just to say a white baseball hat with Chicago Bears is good enough? Yeah, maybe. Well, but the other Chicago Bears had to maybe have to see Chicago Bear with a little red mark in the corner. Oh, that's a better siman. But whatever the siman is, you have to show some kind of good identification siman. So now there's a whole question in the Gemara. If I say I lost something and it's tied like a grandma tie or like a butterfly tie or this tie, is that good enough of a siman or not? I'm not going into the question, but you know, there are many people use this knot, but many don't. Is that good enough of it? And now the Gemara is like raising an eyebrow. Oh, really? If you're telling me that the Mishnah just told me that aguda means three that are not bound together, each one bound separately. Look, but they're tied specially in a special way. So you're now telling me a mufarsha Mishnah that kesha is a siman. So either more I'm arguing. Would we have an intelligent argument if you're allowed to eat chazi or not? Obviously not, right? So either Morim argue whether kesha is a good siman or not, if this indicates a good kesha. Oh, therefore we throw this in the garbage. Whoopa! That's only the havamina. Oh, Tani Rabbi Chia, says Rabbi Chia. You know what aguda means? Shlosha kruchin zebazeh. It means the three. What's the names? The three shtaras kruchin together. Says the Gemara, and everyone's asking, what? If you follow the sugya, so what's the difference? If so, so it's the same thing. We spoke already about the three that are kruchim together, right? We spoke about this, and that's special without kesha, that they're bound together, one inside the other. That was back then a weird thing to do. We don't live in such a world, but it's all computers. But back then, with add more papers, it was not a common thing to apparently bound them all together, one inside the other. But you said it already. Why do you have to say the same thing twice? Once you call it tachrich, now you call it aguda. Why you call it a connection? Why are you saying the same thing twice? And says the Gemara, no. Tachrich, Tachrich, kol chad v'chad berosha dechavrei. Tachrich means that he connected them like that. Each one, is connected, each one is connected to the other at the end. I mean, show and tell. Zoom, can you see? That's tachrich. That's one way of keeping your stars in a weird way. And if you describe it to the finder, then we assume you are the real dutiful owner. And aguda, the tachrich, kol chad aguda deramu adon di v'kruchois. Aguda is this. What we thought before tachrich is really aguda. Aguda is that they're all together, one on top of the other, and they're like all bound together like that. But lamaisa, only this is a siman. But that one that I threw away, if you have regular just with a knot, that's already a question. I'm not sure with the svara why tachrich is more. Apparently, it was not a normal thing to put the shtoris one inside the other. No questions for now until the two dots, and then I will hopefully hear your questions. Now, before we continue, I want to save you a lot of trouble. It's not a difficult, really not difficult. We only have 3-4 easy lines, but in order to have them easy, you have to understand something very important. If you want to be good, I want to say good children. No, the next, you don't like it when I do it. No, the next parak is what you're learning Kita Dalet. I'm so excited. So if you want to know the next parak very well, remember the following. A person who found an object in the street, there's one part called a hachroza, announcing, telling the public that you found something, and the other side is the finder has to give you identification. You may ask, what's the chiddush? I'll tell you what's the chiddush. There's always like a game of a balancing act here, like a seesaw. How much information should the finder disclose, and how much information do we require from the loser to actually give? I'll give an example. Let's say I found a piece of jewelry in the street. It looks very interesting and different. I don't know, something in the shape of some ring with diamonds and rubies and sapphires in the shape of a dove. Yeah. How should I be machriz? If I give too much information, it'll be too easy for the guy. Like children, I think I saw once. You saw him, I found with all the simonim. That's not called Shavas Aveda. Because any Joe bloke can say, I lost it, right? You can't disclose everything. So if you say, I found, a ring with a ruby and a thing in the shape of a dove, that's a joke. Of course, anybody can say it's mine. Now, on the other hand, would you just write in in the shul, in Chaniche, wherever, would you write in the lost and found corner, I found something? That's also ridiculous. What do you mean something? Is it money, phone, or a ring? Oh, but now let me ask you a question, which I don't have the answer for yet. Would you write, I found a ring? Yeah. Would you write, I found a piece of jewelry? Oh, that's already not so simple. Shall I just write piece of jewelry and leave the rest mysteriously for the guy to tell me ring and the shape of a dove? Yeah. Or shall I write jewelry and then he'll say, yes, it's a ring with a dove? Or shall I say jewelry piece, which is a ring, and he has to say the shape of a dove? Get what I'm saying? Whatever I disclose, yeah, the more it's like a seesaw. How much do I tell and how much do I text him to say? And that's all sugya next parak, and that's not simple at all. And that's just a general outline of what's happening here. Oh, the question is, one second, please. Here, if you noticed, we keep talking about numbers. There's a number 3 because there are really 3 stars. One of them is the blue one, yeah. There are 3 stars over here, yeah. And there is also a siman that it's bound, or it's like in this crazy way, right? So, the question is, shall I, now comes the Gemara saying, my machriz minyan. In other words, you just told me, we just worked very hard, I worked physically, yeah, to get what? To explain that these stars are bound this way, bound that way, mashma, that the binding form, yeah, is really part of the siman, which I expect him to say. That's a special thing. Mashma, that the number 3, I say, when I post it online and post it in the shul and post it everywhere, I found stars, lichoira, the number belongs to the announcement part. I found 3 stars. He has to tell me those 3 stars are shaped together, tied together, bound together, shman together. That's what seems to be the game here. If so, says the Gemara, my area plaza. Why did the Mishnah pick on 3? Why didn't Mishnah keep thinking about 3? Afilo treinami, even 2. Soon we'll get the power of this question, how powerful the question is. But in a superficial level, I can understand the question. Why did the Mishnah pick 3, right? In other words, if I say the number, right, I say I found 3, same thing I found 2 or 4 or 6, right? And he says kruchim, and he says that they're tied together like the shape of I don't know what, of Prince Abela's crown, right? Who cares 3? Why should 3 be dafka the number? Could be even 2. Soon we'll see how the question is even stronger. Ella, therefore must be, and that's a punchline. Kideoma Ravina tiv amachriz, just like Ravina said, when you found coins, you found notes, money, bank, notes of money, yeah, dollars, pounds, shekels. You don't say I found 3 notes of 50 shekels and expect the guy to tell you about the shape. No, seriously, no. Maybe he bound in a special way, on a special ribbon, in a special envelope. Yeah, there is still room for him to talk, to give siman. You don't say the amount, you only say, I found money found. How much money? That he'll have to say. The number of shtaras, or the number of coins, defined, that's already in the part of the finder's information he has to give me. Here too, and now we're going to explain everything better. All the motze, the finder has to say, I found shtaras. That's all. The sign that has to be online and offline and in the shul and not in the shul should be, I found shtaras. I found shtaras. The guy, meaning the one who lost, will have to give you two pieces of information in his side of the story. He'll have to tell you how much, and he'll have to tell you what, also the shape that they're bound. He'll have to tell you three, and they're bound in that crazy way, dafka like this or dafka like that. So, how does that answer the question with three? So, why did the Mishnah dafka pick three? I'll tell you why. And here comes a big chiddush. Had the Mishnah spoke about two shtaras, three does mean three. Three means three and upwards, three or more. If you say, I found two shtaras, no, sorry. If you say, I found shtaras, which means I found shtaros, plural, right? And I say, lefi the havamina, I just want to see it inside again, minyan, if I say, I found two shtaras, yeah? If I say I found two shtaras, right? Or even better, if I say I found shtaras plural, and there are two, I really found two shtaras, and I say I found no shtaros plural, and the guy comes and tells me there were two, that's not called him giving siman. Why? Because there's a concept in the Torah, miut rabim shnaim. Whenever we say plural, we assume plural means two, because to fast the merubah lo tafasta, we go for the minimum. So if I say I found plural shtaros, and he says two, although it's true, lemaisa, that's not called giving siman, right? What would you do? 1 minute. What would you do? That's another question, but that's not a solution. I like the face you're making. What's your question? You're even welcoming your question. Very nice. Frekt Baruch, I'm going to ask you a question. Nice. You're asking the question of Mechavrusa and the question of the Achronim. The question is as follows. When the Torah tells you Eidim, let's say, it means two automatically. Why did the Torah repeat the number two is a question. When the Torah tells you two, Hashem, when he says plural, automatically means two. But when I found shtaros, I don't tell you how many, and you give the number two. Why is that a identification? But it is the same. Yeah. Answers the Achronim, an Achron of today answers a very nice answer. He says a siman is not just a logical way of finding out who's a loser, like Tim McKenzie gave back to Tom McKinley. These are our friends, by the way, this year. Yeah, it's not the same way. A siman has to have a halachic xeris akosov kind of thing. What did I tell you at the beginning of the sugya? Any piece of information that I said, he cannot repeat. If I say I found a ring, so for him to say, yeah, I lost a ring with the shape of a dove, the word ring is at best idiotic and halachically incompetent. He says dove, okay, that's what saves him. Halachically, lomdus, this is lomdus, we're now in the depth of Ponevish now. If really I said I found shtaros and the Eibishter decided, Rabbi, I say shtaros means two, and then he said two, although in human logic it makes sense, but in Torah it doesn't make sense. Because when I said shtaros, halachically, it's as if I said the word two, xeris akosov. So when he says two, he's ke'ilu repeating me. Get it? It's a wow, it's a lomdus. It's true that logically speaking, and echinami true. Yes, you're right, you can ask your question a million times. Mitzad the logic, I said shtaros, maybe two, maybe million, and he says two, wow, he said two, that's a siman. But mitzad the deep halach and lomdus, no, because the Torah reviews, when I said shtaros, in the ears of Hashem, I said two. Why? Good question. Why? Ask why can't eat chazir and why can't wear shatnez. Two is like two. Plural is like two. So when he said there are two stars, nice, but it's kilo repeated me. That doesn't work. That's lomdus at its beauty. Teva Shmeva, we are above Teva. We're Jewish. Today I'm violent because I get chizuk from the Gemara to say. Joking. Rabbi, next pair. But the Torah does. The Torah does. The Torah does. I hear. B'derech b'nei Adam. B'derech Teva, you're right. We're not with the Teva. We're l'malam in the Teva. Quick one, please. Yes. Yes, Rabbi. He's not a shomer. He's a guy. He himself is an owner of stars. Him. He's the owner of stars. He lent money, he borrowed money. He divorced three, I don't know, married Ksubas. That will be discussed next. That's the next discussion. I'm happy because your question brings us to the Hemshech of the Gemara. No, seriously, you're very ready for the next piece. Thank you. Yeah. Rashba Goimer, you remember the Mishnah very nicely. Beautiful, amazing. You are not a Tarda. You're the opposite of a Tarda. You're smart. Rashba Goimer. Yeah. Rashba Goimer. Compliment. Rashba Goimer, Echad Aloive Mishlosh Yachzer Aloive. Says Rashbag. Says Rashbag as follows. If I found three random stores without any common name in them, then Enochinami would be a siman, the ribbon, the shmiben, the weather kruchos. But let's say I found three stars which are not bound together in a weird way, but they have a common denominator. We see that all three stars say what? I, Reuven, borrowed from the bank. I, Reuven, borrowed from the Gmach. I, Reuven, borrowed from Yehuda Sprincelovsky. The common denominator, even if don't look alike or alike, that you see that the common denominator is the love, then they belong to the love. Why? And it's a chiddush, by the way. The Isal Kedatach says, the Malvininu, if you want to tell me that it fell, that really, but what does it mean it's from the love? Give it to the love. And that will be by him, which means he probably gave back already the loan. They got back to him. That's his business. And we don't give it to the Malvin to charge him. Says the Gemara, yeah, the Isal Kedatach Malvininu, if you think that they fell from the bank and they happen to fall, the other one from the Gmach and the other one from Yudah, then my Bagabi Adodi. What a coincidence. What are they doing together? It's very, very strange. Yeah. You, Reuben, you tell me they all belong to other people. Oh, they say it belongs to them. Mapitam. It's very unlikely. What's the chiddush? Frag the Gemara. Dilma likiyuminu azli. Frag the Gemara. No. You know where all Malvim meet? You know where there is a place where the bank owner and the Gemach owner and Yehuda, the nice Malva, all meet? You know where? By the place of Kiyum. Maybe they all went to the Safra de Dayani. They went to the Beis Din in wherever, in let's say Manchester, and what? And they want to have a kiyum on the star. And it fell from them before the kiyum, and maybe the guy never borrowed, right? When I have a star that somebody owes me money, I go and I run after I have the star to have it kosher, to get it kosherized by Beis Din. So it's not so foolish. Maybe it's a small town. Reuven is the chronic borrower, but those three Malvim happen to be meeting each other by the doorstep of, or on their way to the, where? To the Mekayim, to the Dayan, or the Sofer Dayan, that should prove with the shtempel that the Edim are good Edim. No? So maybe it does belong to the Malvim. And says the Gemara, the Mekayimi. Enochinami, you're right. We're making an ukimta, which is not a hard ukimta. The shtaris that we have here, all three stars saying Reuven borrowed, are mekuyim already. You can't say that they lost them on the way to the kiyum because already mekuyim. They're already mekuyim. Frag the Gemara, Dilma miyadid the sofer nofil. Wait, maybe the sofer, after he put his approval, b'shem Beis Din, that this is a good star and good edim, maybe they fell from the head of the sofer. That makes sense. How many mezuzahs does the sofer have, Arav Mendelovich? How many mezuzahs have been to his office? I don't know, 20 of different people, right? So maybe here too. Maybe that sofer has three different stars, so different malvim, and he was mekayim them already, but it fell from his hand after the kiyum. And says the Gemara, that is very unlikely, says the Gemara. Once the person, the malve, was very concerned about his money, already went to the sofer, he does not leave the stars, not even one more extra moment, but the sofer. No way. He wants to, the sofer is a big mess. He wants to have his star back by him, the Malda, with the desired golden approval. That's very good for him, and he takes it quickly back home. And therefore, again, we're back to square one, but it's a chiddush. Statistically speaking, three stars, Reuven, borrowed. We assume it fell from Reuven. He gave it from Reuven for all these reasons. We are, by the way, you're aware of which country you're now in? Yeah, because we have to finish the parak by Sunday, latest Monday. You give it to Reuven. What did they say? I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. To Reuven. Shloisha shalavu me'echad. Questions are welcome at 10:25. Shloisha shalavu me'echad. Now the other way. Shloisha shalavu me'echad yachzil malbe. I found three stars. What? I, Reuven, borrowed from Shimon. I, the bank, borrowed from Shimon. I, Principal, borrowed from Shimon. Obviously, the common denominator is siman the malve, the lender. Give it to the malve, to the lender, even if the loive shrais chai v'kayim, I don't care. I'll give it to the malve, because statistically speaking, the malve is the only game here, right? Is the common denominator. And as the Gemara explains, and there's a chiddush here too. If you think it really fell from the hand of the loive, because the loive says, no, it fell from me. Yeah, all three loivim say it fell from us, and we never actually took the loan. If it fell from the loive, it means we never actually actualized it. Give it back to us. That's very unlikely. Mr. This and Mr. That. You all, my by Gabi Adodi. What do all the three stars do? Well, the only common denominator is that Malve. Must be it fell from him. Frag the Gemara. Dilma lemichtavinu azli. How do you know? The loive, where the three loive meet? By the sofer also. Before we spoke about the sofer doing the kiyum. But who writes the star? Who's in charge of writing the star? I, the loive. And many people would go to a sofer. Remember Pshita de Satli? A loive would pay a sofer to use his good services to write him a good halachic star. Today we scribble something, or not always. Sometimes you have lawyers, right? Not everyone can phrase a lawyer's document. So also make your din. When I'm not saying anybody who borrows 2 shekels should do it, but I'm saying if you borrow money and you want it to be good, you go to the sofer who should write you the star. Wait. So maybe on the way to the sofer, 3 loivim, that's not so unlikely. They met in the street and it fell from them somewhere around the street over there. And by the way, it's not bound together. It's like near each other. Maybe it fell there on the way to the sofer and they never borrowed yet. Yeah? And it says the Gemara, it's written by what? 3 different handwritings of 3 soifrim. Had it been written by the sofer and what it fell from the sofer, it should be the same handwriting, the same style. If you see 3 different loivim and 3 different handwritings of soifrim, it's not the same sofer. So there is 0 common denominator. The only common denominator is Mr. Who? Malve. Okay. I'll give it to the Malve because surely you already gave it to his hands, which surely means you already borrowed, and I'll give it to the Malve. Maybe those loivim are the ones who went and did meet after they already had the stars written by 3 different soifrim. No common denominator. Maybe they went now to Beis Din to have the stempel of kashrus of Beis Din that the star is good and the edim are good. So still, but they didn't yet borrow. They're preparing the star with a good hechsher before they actually borrowed. So maybe it is from the loivim which never ever borrowed. Answers the Gemara, unless these people are B'Srael Salant or Ev Rosh Hashanah, most loivim, it's not within their interest to make sure that the star is kosher. I'm not saying they're lying. It says the Gemara, Malve Mekayim Shtori, Loive Lo Mekayim Shtori. It's very unlikely. The one who really, really wants to make sure that the star is good and functional and will be able to help him when the tough time comes is who? Is a Malve. He's the one who needs the star to prove that his money is resting with someone else and he wants to collect it. The loive, he usually doesn't. Normally, he's not the one who makes sure it's super kosher. Yeah, if somebody gets a phone call, a nice normal guy, nice American entire good, he gets a phone call from the bank, not in a threatening way. I would like you to come and make the mashkanta that shows you owe us $500,000 to make it better. Who wouldn't rush to do it? I'm saying not just Ganev. Let them do it. He doesn't have to Dafka help them. Yeah, let them do it. He can. Well, he hopes they lose it even. So that's the story over here. Weiter. Yeah, we have to at least continue shtickle. I thought it's called symphonos, like a symphony, but apparently it's called symponot. I saw in the Mishnah. So what did we say about symponos? Symponos are a symposium. I'm joking. Symponos are a shoiva. What's a shoiva? Everybody here are amazing scholars. So really, it's a receipt. Let's say you found a receipt in your house, but it's kind of weird because you found a shtar choiv. Shtar choiv by me means I wasn't yet paid, and yet there is a shoiver that says that I was paid. And what if I'm the malve? Let's say I'm the malve. Picture number 1, I'm the malve. I lent money to my good friend Shimon. Now I have a shtar in my house. The Shimon owes a kiva 3,000, but I also have a shoiver that Shimon paid. Or like what's going on over here? Like there is a shtar that he didn't pay, and there's a shover that he did pay. So what do I make of it? Now, what I make of it, I don't have to do anything. Let's say I go to Beis Din and I claim, Shimon, you didn't pay me now. And Shimon says, no, I did pay. Not only I paid, you liar. There are two Adim that went to your house and they saw that there's a shover in your house, in your desk, on your desk. Why do you have a shover, you Mr. Malve? You know we have a shover? Because you prepared the shover to give me the loive because I already paid you. I paid you, says Shimon. And the shover in your house is ready post-mortem, post-achzara. Post, I already get back the money. And you're lying to me. I relied on you. You wrote me a shover and you said tomorrow in the shtibel you'll give it back to me, and you didn't yet. And I, the Malda, I say, no, I prepared it. I prepared it though before you gave me back the money. I knew you're about to give me back the money. I prepared the shover, but the money wasn't yet paid. That's really the question here. If I see a shover in the Malda's house, what do I make of it? Was it prepared, written and prepared in case the lawyer will give back, but he didn't? Or did the lawyer already give back after, and then I wrote the shover, and then I was about to give it to him, but already did pay? That's the vikuach, that's the argument between the lawyer and the malve. If you got that, you are good to go. Now, says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba Amar Rav, says Rav, Simpan hayotzim mitachas yedei malve. A simpan which is under the hands of the malve, I mean, it's in the house of the malve, it's on his desk, by his computer. Even though it's written with his own handwriting, and soon we'll see what's the chiddush. It's as if he's playing games and it's possible. What does it mean, possible? Meaning, we assume that the milva was not yet paid. It's not a good shover. Not that it's possible like you get possible. It's dysfunctional in the sense that we assume that he prepared the shover before the payment was given. And the malva is right, he wasn't yet paid. Now, you may ask why. Who told Rav? Rav is going to explain himself. If it's written with a beautiful, professional ksav yad, handwriting of the professional sofer, is the sofer always ready? No. Let's say the sofer only comes to town once a week. Maybe the sofer lives in Ramah Tisvov, and he only sees people 9 o'clock at night. The sofer is not always available. I'm the malve. I'm anxious to get my money. And then the ikalamema, I could say, Safra Isramile, because of I want to have the shover ready just in case to be able to draw it out, to be able to to be able to use it. And because the sofer is now in town, I want to quickly jump on the bandwagon and quickly get the services of the sofer. That's why I wrote the shtar before the guy paid. I want to be ready when I catch him, as we're going to see soon. He's playing games, the loiva, as loivi many times do. And now with the loive, I want to be ready with the shtar, so when the loive comes with the money, I'll be able to quickly give him the shtar, and only now the sofer is around. Not only that, let's say that it's written in the malve's own handwriting, and you can't say it was pressurized. I am with myself 24 hours a day. I don't have to catch the sofer. Let's say the malve himself wrote the shtar. Even then, Posel, we still say that he prepared it for not for a rainy day, for a good day when the loive will pay. Listen to what goes now. This is now verbatim, a quote, Kilo, what happens in the mind of the malve. Soval thinks the malve. We're now reading the mind of the malve. Maybe, Punk that loive, which I've been chasing around, he will all of a sudden be available in the craziest hour. Ben Shmoshes, Mechavrusa said, and so I was right, Friday afternoon. Not Ben Shmoshes, you can't give money then. Maybe my dear loiva, who drove me crazy, all of a sudden will say, punkt now, Ben Shmoshes, Friday afternoon, now he'll knock on my door, bikaporali, and now he wants to give back the money, but then he'll smile and say, hey, he'll tell me, now I came here with 3,000 shekels, but if you don't give me a shover now, I won't give it to you. Huh? You already came here? Now it's playing out. No, I don't want to give you that a shover. Says the mother, I'll write it now, ASAP, to be prepared. When you're bringing the money back, 8 and late, then I'll give him the shover. In other words, it's very likely, Begadol, for a malve to have a shover ready, written one way or the other, so that when the loiv, the malve said, so when the loiv finally comes, he'll be ready, so the loiv should not have excuses. I want to have it ready, boom, to have in Hebrew say lishlof, like you said, to draw out something. I'll be able to quickly give him the shoiva to avoid his excuses. And therefore, says Rav, in people's psychology, if you found the shoival in the person's desk, the assumption is that the halva was not yet given. It's also muchzik, by the way. We all know chazaka wise. It's just what I'm thinking now. Up until now, everybody knows that the money was owed, right? Was by the loive. You want to change the chazaka and say that money was given to the malva? That's not enough of a proof. The fact that the malva has on his desk has a nice shover doesn't mean it was paid. It means it's prepared for when the loive will finally pay. In Mela, that's what we say. And on Sunday, we're going to challenge that. And on Sunday, we're going to finish the parak and start Elu Metzias. He's been waiting very nice. Unlike that English lady from the story, Paris is very polite, and he's been 1 second, and then you, and then you. Have a great day. Good Shabbos, everybody. Hatzlacho, Baruch B'chol Inyanim. Yes, I'm listening.